Hey everyone, this is attempt number 2. This is the baby elephant taking a bath, painting it in excuse me, with the gray tones using black and white. It is Mars black and titanium white. And then I am going to, and it's all grayed in, I'm going to glaze over with my colored acrylics and a glazing medium. Don't mind this weird noise you hear in the background because this, like I said, this is the second attempt to do this voiceover. I have no idea if this is going to take, if I'm going to have to do it a third time. But while I do this, I need to get my work done, and I'm pressing buttons. So when you hear this, like, hammer sound, that's what it is. So, in the upside down film, which I thought I had this all figured out how to film it the right side up, the bottom of your screen is the background, which is going to end up being green to represent trees. I use multiple shades of gray. After it's had time to dry, I go back in and I add white. At the top of your screen, which is the bottom of the painting, is the water that the baby elephant is taking a bath in. And I used a lighter color gray than I used in the tree portion. I used a slightly darker shade than that right along the bottom of the elephant so that it looks like that's the part of the elephant that is going underwater. And then I used white to make like water ripples. Now on the elephant herself, my daughter thinks it should be called Henry. On the elephant itself, I started off with a lighter gray, but I go back and forth, light grays, dark grays, some plain white, and in some places, plain black. I'll keep working over and over it until I think it has its shape. This is where I'm giving it its dimension. Elephants are very wrinkly, so I do lots of lines in lots of different shades to help it pop out and not look flat on the paper. Canvas, which this is a very small canvas I'm working on. It's only 8 inches by 8 inches, and it was actually very nice to work on a small area and not have my paint dry before I could do what I wanted to do with it. I am adding shape to the top of his head. When I drew this on, I traced the outline of his head and the position of where his eye was going to be. That's all that was traced. The rest of it, I just keep referring back to my photo reference and try to get my tones right, or as close as I can. I mean, obviously I don't want it to look like a picture, otherwise I would have just kept the picture. I want it to look like a painting. So I'm not trying to make it perfect, but as close to perfect as I can try to get it. Pardon my head, I was trying to lean over, I wasn't wearing my glasses. Can't see what I'm doing. The light was giving me an awful time with glare, so I had to keep leaning from side to side trying to see. But I had to put light on it so you wouldn't have shadow from where the camera was at, that I still looked up backwards. One of these days, I will get it right. So I'm going to keep working, especially the trunk and the eye area. This part here is like the temple of his forehead, and where you can see his head rounding over, leading to his ear and down into his cheek. Again, shadows, highlights, wrinkles, lines, up on the top of his head or the bottom. Where it was fuzzy, that's going to have hair there. Did you know elephants have hair? I guess I've never really been close enough to one. I've seen them at the circus and at the zoo, but never really noticed that they had hair, or maybe it's just because this is a baby that it has hair. But up on that bottom part, that's going to be some hair, so that's kind of like my foreshadow before I go in with a liner and just line out several black, dark gray, and white. White for the highlights, black for the shadows. And of course, when I glaze over, it'll take on a little bit of a hint of the color that I glazed with, but it will still show as highlights and shadows. Adding more. That looks real white on the screen, but it's not. As it dries, it kind of lightens up. And then, of course, when we put your glazing over top of it, it changes the tone of it. Working that eye, lots of lines, lots of light lines, dark lines, lots of it around the eye and the trunk. I can't say that enough when you look at the image. Now, if you would like to paint this, you can go to the Facebook group page, and in the files section, you can download the reference photo. It is not a traceable. It's the actual reference photo, but you can make a traceable from it. Like I said, all you need is the outline of his head and the position of where the eye goes. The rest of it, you can just look at it and color it in. If you try to trace too much detail and get lost in it, it's very confusing. Now, the only thing on this whole painting that will not get glazed over is his eye, because I want that black eye pupil to stay black and the white part of his eye to stay white. I don't want any, I want it to really pop out. I don't want any of that on it. Adding more black or very dark gray to the mouth area, because that's like the elephant's black hole. So you want it to be different from the underside of his trunk. There's my head again, sorry. Like I said, I had to keep angling myself to be able to see from the glare of the lighting. More lines. The lines with the elephant's wrinkles, very wrinkly animal. Even as a baby, they're full of wrinkles. I had a baby that had creases, but I wouldn't have called her an elephant. She had one on her upper thigh, on her left leg. I honestly thought it was never going to go away. I mean, it was like this really permanent roll. It's gone now, thank goodness. She would look pretty silly walking around without it. And it was deep. She was my chubby one. Working in some highlights. Now, if you put too much on like I did, you can sit there and rub it in with your finger. Takes away that brightness, adding more lines, more wrinkles around his eye, his trunk, down his cheek. Got some more lines. out of this. Just keep adding, and then I let it rest for a little while. Then I'll add some more, and I just keep going so I can think that I have it. Sorry, I'm a little out of screen there. Like I said, one day I'll figure it out. More lines. I'm getting ready to do some hair. Short little strokes. You can use your black, you can use a dark gray, you can use white. The white will pick up the tint that we glaze with, but it will still reflect the highlight of the hairs. That's the spot that the sun is hitting. Lots of little hairs. This will take you a little while. It's not too bad. Just put them in, kind of round them in the direction, the shape of his head. Don't forget to add some white ones. Don't just go crazy with all darks. You gotta have the white in there too. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I mean, this program says record into your microphone, but there's like nowhere to plug a microphone into this computer, so I'm having to rely on the computer's microphone itself. And I don't even know where it's at, if I know that I'm like aiming my voice towards it or not. So I'm adding the white hairs, and we are getting ready to put on some glaze. And when you glaze, don't even put your paint on your palette. Put a couple of drops of glaze on it, and take your paintbrush and just the tip of it, touch the color of the paint you want, and mix it in with those few drops of glaze. If it's not dark enough, touch a little more paint to it. Don't waste your paint, put it on the palette, especially if you're working on a small canvas like I am. Paint and glaze, but they're just too expensive to waste, and there's no need for it. And I find out myself that I end up wasting a ton. So, the water area is Prussian Blue mixed with the Liquitex glazing medium, and it's a fluid medium. And I just paint over it. Just wash right over it. The elephant, same thing. Clean your brush out. Don't put the paint on your palette. Just touch the brush to the paint. Mix it in with a couple of drops of the glazing fluid. Glazing medium, fluid medium. And paint over the elephant's head, his ears, trunk. Even your darks will take on that tone of the Raynes Gray. And the Raynes Gray or Payne's Gray, whichever you have, has kind of a bluish tint to it. So it looks like more of a natural gray than black and white paint. And plus, you've done your whole painting in black and white up until this point, so this is where you're going to get your color from. So you're going to have a little bit of a bluish gray on your color. When you're ready to move on to the green, same thing. Clean that brush, touch the brush to the tube of paint, mix it with a couple of drops. If you find you don't have enough, just do the same thing over again, make a little bit more. No sense in wasting it. And the background color, it's just sap green mixed with the glazing medium. And if you want it more of a yellowy green, add some yellow to your green, to your mixture too. And just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way with the glazing medium. And again, if it's not dark enough, let this first coat dry. Do it again. Give it a second coat. I didn't. I was very happy with my colors. Okay, so what you missed when the camera stopped filming was I went back in after my glaze dried and I dry brushed in some more white to enhance my highlight across the top of his forehead and up this way around the eye, and a little bit through here on the trunk. Then I used my detail brush and I tapped in with just the tip the dots to make the water splashes all the way up for these thicker, more concentrated areas. And then I splattered with my brush, quite the glare here, with my brush to make it not look so uniformed, make it look more sporadic up through here. I mean, other than that, you missed absolutely nothing. I was also asked to explain how I used the glaze. It takes a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of color. Like, just put the tip of your brush in it. And you're going to mix it with a glazing medium. I put just like a couple of drops down and then touch my color paint into it and mix it up. Test it on a piece of paper, see if it's the darkness you want. The more paint you add, the darker it is. It's supposed to be translucent. So I painted the Prussian Blue down on the bottom, just over my water area. I used the Raynes Gray, or you might have Payne's Gray. I believe it's the same thing. It's kind of a bluish tone gray, and painted in the elephant. And I used the sap green for the background. And like I said, you just, after it dries, if you don't like the darkness of the color, you can glaze over again and it'll get darker. With each layer, it's going to get darker. But what I did is I just went back in with my titanium white and dry brushed some in to brighten my highlights. So I was very happy with how my colors turned out. I don't know what else to say to explain the process. It's really very easy. There are lots and lots and lots of videos on here on YouTube that explain, well, I don't think anybody really does a good job of explaining it. They just kind of say, do this and do that, but never really explain it. So hopefully my little explanation there was a little better for you. Really, it's very small amounts. You can layer it, and it's just going to make the color darker. And just let it dry in between coats. If I wanted like yellow in my green, I could put a yellow glaze over top of the green if I wasn't happy with the shade of green, and brighten it up a little. But I mean, that's it. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty easy. So again, I thank you for watching, and if you have more questions, you can put them in the comment section below. If you want to try and paint this, you can get the reference image from the Facebook group, and the link is in the description below, or if you visit my profile page, you'll see that there is a link for a Facebook group, and the reference image is in files, and you can download a copy of the reference image. It is not a traceable, it's an actual image that I took it from, but it's very easy to make a traceable out of it and to transfer the image to your canvas. Thanks again.